Today we're going to start off going through the crafted weapons from Season 16, which is when Witch Queen released, and moving our way to the current season and showing what's the best crafted weapons to get the pattern for and level up for Lightfall. Now I have been doing the worst thing possible for the last couple seasons, and that is getting every pattern for every crafted weapon known to man. This is something I do not wish upon my worst enemy, but because I don't like to touch grass, I have taken upon this challenge for myself. So given that I am pretty much almost done in getting all the patterns and leveling up the weapons, I have a pretty good grasp on what is good and just what feels good even for normal play, as well as what you should focus on out of the best weapons. First off, the Season of the Risen, Season 16, there's a lot of crafted weapons. Going through the seasonal weapons, which are right here: Explosive Personality, a great wave frame but nothing too special in my eyes. Only thing is that it's the only solar wave frame currently in the game. Moving on to Recurrent Impact, this is a rapid fire frame and personally I'm fond of them, but in terms of ad clear, an adaptive frame or high impact would be better for an LMG. Also considering that these most likely won't get a change for Lightfall, it's probably best to not focus on this unless you really like it. Under Your Skin is a great bow if you like the crude redemption, the bow from Garden of Salvation, as a substitute is pretty good and can also synergize with volatile rounds if you're running any void subclass. Sweet Sorrow is a rapid fire frame. Again, personally I like it. I have it crafted with enhanced stats for all and enhanced one for all. But when moving on to the later seasons, you will see a vast majority of substitutes you can use in place of this auto rifle. Now Thoughtless is a weapon I initially crafted in the first week of the Witch Queen releasing, thinking it was going to be the next meta, for VOW especially. Now looking back, it's kind of dumb, but considering that LFRs are getting a nerf next season, this might be a good option for DPS, but who really knows. This might be a boatload of copium I'm smoking on hopes of it becoming the meta, and also considering how easy it is to proc stasis walls on super activation, this is a good option. Peace of Mind is the last craftable seasonal weapon, and this would mainly be a PvP weapon with really good rolls. But I personally use it to run solo nightfalls and other solo activities with the auto-loading Vorpal roll. Whenever pulses are in the artifact mod for champs, I try to use this if there isn't another better option in the kinetic slot. But mainly, this is a PvP weapon. So out of the seasonal weapons, I would focus on Thoughtless, Under Your Skin, and if you're a solo player or a PvP player, then Peace of Mind. The other weapons don't really seem to enlighten me that much in terms of build crafting, but you can let me know in the comments below if I should change my opinion on them. Out of the VOW weapons, which came out in Season 16 as well, definitely focus on Forbearance for obvious reasons. You can roll Unrelenting Chain Reaction, Ambitious Assassin Chain Reaction, and this gun is just amazing for obvious reasons. Next up, focus on Cataclysmic, which is the LFR. And I know I just said the LFRs will not be meta in Lightfall, but this is a good weapon regardless and also good for solo play. This might still be a good option for solo play in Lightfall, but in terms of it being the top DPS, I don't think that will be an option. Deliverance, the fusion rifle, was cool initially because of chill clip and the kinetic, but it's a precision frame, and it takes too long for it to freeze any champion, and since then there is a better option, which is Riptide from the Crucible. So I would say focus on Riptide from the Crucible instead of this, just because that can roll chill clip as well and it's really good. Out of the rest of the weapons in the raid, nothing really wows me. I would mainly focus on Forbearance and Cataclysmic. Now out of the rest of the Witch Queen weapons and the Wellspring weapons remaining, I would mainly focus on Likely Suspect. A rapid fire Void Fusion. This only because all the rest are kind of bad to me and really not notable. Again, it's sort of a, if you like the weapon, use it and focus on it if you really enjoy it. You do have stuff like Null Composure that can counter this, but this can roll with successful warm-up as well, so it's up to you what you want to choose. Season of the Haunted started off with 3 sets of weapons: the Opulent weapons, the Haunted seasonal weapons, and the Dungeon weapons. Out of the Opulent weapons, Callous Mini Tool is probably one I would focus on the most. It's definitely a must. Its synergy with Solar 3.0 is really good, especially since it can roll with Incandescent. Now the other 3 being Ostringer, Drang, and Beloved, those are mainly PvP weapons, and again it's really good. If I had to choose, I would say focus on Callous Mini Tool mainly. If you really like PvP and you main PvP, I would say focus on any of these. For the Haunted weapons, I would have to say Bump in the Night really shined to me, especially since the nerf to Palmera's frame in Season 16, Bump in the Night really shined. This paired with Galahorn does an insane amount of damage, so this might be the new meta in Lightfall, but it could be snipers, who really knows. Other than that, for some reason I really like Trace Rifles as well, and again saying this with a whole lot of copium, I want Trace Rifles to be somewhat meta, but I don't think they will. But in hopes that it will be. Okay, I'm just gonna pause the video for a second, and if you have made it this far, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, maybe you have in the beginning, but when I hovered over Hollow Denial, initially in my script I was saying that this is good for volatile rounds, and I knew that this was void. But when I was looking back through while editing, it shows as an arc weapon. And then even on light.gg, it shows this as a void weapon. In my dim, it shows this as a void. So I was like, maybe I'm tripping. So I go and transfer it over, and it's void. But this shows arc. Am I tripping, or is there something wrong here? Is this like a different one? Like if I get this, will it be arc? And I'll have two weapons with different archetypes, like with different burns, or like what? Maybe you can let me know in the comments below. I don't know what's going on with this. I'm pretty sure it's void. The weapon I actually have is void, so this does synergize with void 3.0 with volatile rounds. I don't know about that arc one, so just ignore that. It might be a visual bug, but just this I would craft this, and especially I have it right now with adaptive munitions, so it can take shields down pretty easily without match game. So just do that. I'm pretty sure it's void though. Last but not least, the dungeon weapons. Out of these, I would probably focus on fixed odds the most, just because it is a high impact, so it's good for ad clear, as well as it can roll with incandescent or killing tally. And when you pair one of these perks with feeding frenzy, it does the job well. That is it for season 17. Now moving into season 18, which is season of the plunder. This was broken up into two parts: the seasonal weapons and the King's Fall weapons. Season 17, they introduced the perk incandescent, and in this season, in season 18, they brought a new perk called Volt Shot. Because of that, my opinions change a bit. Brigand's Law is pretty decent, especially when paired with Volt Shot. I enjoyed leveling it up and it wasn't that bad to me. Next up is Tarnished Metal. This can also roll with Volt Shot, and out of the seasonal weapons, I would probably focus on these two the most. For King's Fall weapons, I really like all of them except Midas Reckoning and Defiance of Yasmin, just because there are a lot of better options for that weapon in that slot. The LMG Quillam's Terminus can roll with Killing Tally or Firing Line. The Hand Cannon can roll with Explosive Payload and Incandescent. And the Scout can roll with Explosive Payload Dragonfly and also can pair with volatile rounds. Do what you will, but the Hand Cannon, LMG, and Scout are the ones I like the most, and I would suggest focusing on them. The current season we are in is the final one in this video. Now this was broken up into three sets of weapons: the seasonal weapons, the Eclipse weapons, and the Deepstone Crypt weapons, which became craftable this season. Out of the Eclipse weapons, the Eclipse SMG is probably the best one. This can roll with Volt Shot, and when pairing that with Feeding Frenzy, it is ideal that you would want that roll. Moving on to the seasonal weapons, Fire and Forget stands out because it is a 3-burst stasis LFR, but they are getting nerfed again, so this might not be meta, but I only crafted it because there isn't another 3-burst stasis LFR currently in the game. Also, the Path of Least Resistance, which is a trace rifle, and this can roll with Volt Shot as well, making it really good. But again, whole lot of copium for me when it comes to trace rifle, just because I want them to be meta, but they probably won't, so take this with a grain of salt if you want to focus on Path of Least Resistance. Finally, Retrofit Escapade for the seasonal weapons. This is a rapid fire frame, and rapid fire frames are typically not so good. However, recent videos, especially in this season, have been posted with this weapon with the rolls 4 times the charm and target lock, which make it crazily insane for DPS. Who knows if it'll stay in Lightfall, but it doesn't seem like it's a bug, especially since you're pairing it with Volatile and Phantom Might and a bunch of other stuff. We'll have to wait and see, but it sort of seems like it's kind of intended for this weapon to work how it is. For Deep Zone Crypt, nothing really shines to me except Heritage, obviously, and Succession. You can see if you like Trustee because it can roll with Incandescent, but ultimately I would choose Succession and Heritage to focus on from the Deep Zone Crypt weapons. A little TLDR for anyone that wants to skip and find out the best weapons to craft without knowing the reason why. Season 16, the Thoughtless Sniper because of Stasis Wells are super easy to proc. The Under Your Skin Bow because of its synergy with volatile rounds and its replacement for Accrued Redemption. And Peace of Mind from Valve the Disciple, Forbearance because of Chain Reaction with Ambitious Assassin, and Cataclysmic because if you're a solo player, it will still probably be good in Lightfall. Season 17, Callous Mini Tool for Incandescent, Bump in the Night because of its frame, Hollow Denial, and Fixed Odds for Ad Clear. Season 18, Brigand's Law and Tarnished Metal both roll with Volt Shot, so choose what you like best. From King's Fall, the LMG with Killing Tally or Firing Line, the Hand Cannon with Explosive Payload or Incandescent, and the Scout for Volatile Rounds and Explosive Payload Dragonfly. In the current season, Season 19, the Eclipse SMG with Feeding Frenzy Volt Shot, the Path of Least Resistance with Volt Shot, the Retrofit Escapade Rapid Fire LMG with 4 times the Charm and Target Lock, from Deep Zone Crypt weapons, Heritage, and Succession. This is all for the crafted weapons in the last year. Let me know down below if I missed any or if you like one that I did not list on here. All of these are farmable and you don't need to craft them if you already have a god roll of that weapon. Don't waste your time like I am in getting all the patterns if you already have a god roll. There is no point. I hope you guys enjoyed and thanks for all the support lately, and I'll see you in the next one.